Good evening and welcome to the December 13th meeting of the Auburn Board of Selectmen. This meeting is being recorded and streamed online. Is there anyone in the audience also recording? Seeing none, can we stand and salute the flag?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can I have a motion to move up agenda item
There's 2 items.
5A and 5B?
Make a motion to move up agenda items 5A and 5B.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, agenda item 5A and 5B, relate to a change of owner and address for flammable storage permit. That involves the town clerk, so I don't know if you want to come up and join us here at the table and just explain what the vote would be.
Good evening. So the gas registrations stay with the property location. So both of those properties, 26 and 793 Southbridge Street, both changed owners and were sold. So we just want to get the correct owners on record. Both properties do have leases and the gas registrations are being paid by them, but we do need to update our records. So when we send out the renewals, we have the correct information. Keep up with it.
Do board members have any questions or comments? Seeing none, is there a motion?
On item 5A, I'll make a motion to approve the new owner address and address.
A second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. And on 5B?
On 5B, I'll make a motion that we approve the new owner and address change.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Going back to our regular agenda under public hearings and presentations, we have under 3A, this is supposed to be IIF Brothers LLC Motor Vehicle Class 2 license at 481 Washington Street. And enclosed in your packets, you have the application and a letter of recommendation from the DCG. Is the applicant here? Okay. Is there a motion to open the hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. If you want to come up and join us, just to tell us a little bit about what you're here tonight to do. Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. And your name and address of the record.
Yes. My name is Mohammed. Last name is Akram. You want my business address or my home address?
Business address.
481 Washington Street, Auburn, Massachusetts. 1510.
And what are you here tonight for?
I'm applying for the selling used vehicles at the property on BP gas station.
Do board members have any questions or comments with regard to the license?
So, through the chair, so you're looking to just sell a few vehicles through the BP?
Yes.
In the BP area? And if I'm looking at it right, is there like 7 spaces that or is that just a sample?
It's whatever is the previous owner has, like I think up to 10 cars or something. He gave me the map.
So it's basically just, you're taking over for the old owner?
Yeah, whatever is the previous.
Okay.
I'm not changing anything. Just
Not changing anything,
Yeah, no
okay.
changing. Just keep as it.
Yeah, because I don't see where it's actually referencing the number of cars, but,
Down here.
see it there?
Yeah, it's like right here.
Oh, the other map.
On the proposed.
On that same one I was looking at.
Yeah.
Tiny right here and here.
Oh, yeah. Mr. Wren, sorry.
10
Is
spaces.
it your intention to putting up any quality security cameras for the lot as?
Yes, we already did.
You did? Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Is there anything else, board members? No? All right, thank you. Is there a motion to, is there anything else from anyone online, any abutters or anyone on this motion? All right, seeing none, is there a motion to close the hearing?
Motion to close?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And is there a motion on, the license?
I'll make a motion to approve the license, provided that all applicable requirements of the state and town and any of its departments, boards, and commissions have been fulfilled. Said license is subject to all the conditions stated upon it. Failure to comply with any and all the conditions shall invalidate the license and render it null and void, and with the conditions of the DCG to be placed on the license, and that the license will be for the remainder of 2021 and for the year 2022.
A second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Thank you. Congratulations.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Happy holiday, everybody.
Thank you, you too.
So I'm all set, I can leave?
Yep, all set.
All right, thank you.
Yes.
Unless you want to stay, but,
These are pretty exciting
6
meetings.
o'clock, so. All right, guys, take care.
have a good night.
Thank you.
All right, next item on the agenda is a petition by National Grid and Verizon New England for a pole location at Leicester Street. Is the applicant, I'm guessing attending virtually, on the call?
I am.
Oh, great. Let me just move that so we can.
I'm also here. I'm Carl Hartwick, National.
Can you repeat his name?
Yeah, can you say your name again?
My name is Carl Hartwick. I'm the customer and community at the town of Park.
You got that?
National.
I have it.
Rebecca March, National Grid as well. And Joshua Pacheco, National Grid.
Thanks. Carl, it sounded like yours was breaking up a little bit, but I think we got your name though, so we should be all set. Is there a motion to open the hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. If you want to tell us a little bit about the application for the pole location at Leicester Street?
Sure. So, okay, you want me to go?
Yep.
All right, this is Joshua Pacheco. This project is to interconnect a solar site north on Auburn Road, but this petition hearing is in regards to the poles installed at the intersection of Leicester and Rochdale Street. So because of the solar site, we're installing larger conductor sizing, which requires some midspan sets and some anchoring to hold up those larger wires. So that's the purpose of the job.
All right. Do board members have any questions or comments for the applicant?
Yes.
Yeah, Mr. Wren?
Completely unrelated, but I saw it this weekend, so I figured it's just kind of funny that you guys were on for this meeting. I don't know that you guys have the ability to make decisions on other polls or whatnot, but Swanson Road and Southbridge Street in Auburn, there's a pole by the Shell station which is bending pretty seriously into the road. It carries a lot of heavy wires on it. So while I had you guys here, I know this has nothing to do with this hearing, that we're talking about. But if you have the ability to speak to anybody about that pole, it does look like to be a pretty big concern.
Can you repeat the poll location, please?
Sure, it's Southbridge Street and Swanson Road at the intersection, right by the Auburn Public Library.
Josh, this is Carl. I have that, Swanson. And so thank you so much for reporting on.
Alrighty.
Thanks, Carl.
All right, great. Anyone else have anything? Seeing none, are there any abutters? Oh, sorry, Mr. Berthium.
So we have two things that we're voting on here. They're both in the same area. And are we looking at a total of 5 poles?
That is correct, yes.
Okay, and those poles are not going to be near any existing poles? They're just bigger poles? Or are you replacing poles?
So these are new set poles. So currently, Roachdale and Leicester Street do not tie in together, and these poles are being installed to tie the circuits from Roachdale to Leicester. So they're new poles.
Okay, and is there any interference, the railroad bridge is right there? Do you see any problem, is any wires gonna be over near the railroad at all?
So these proposed overhead wires do not interfere with the railroad. The existing wires actually drop underground, and they go under the railroad, so we stayed away from that crossing as well.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? Are there any abutters on the call that want to be heard?
Hello, this is Ellen Ethier at 404 Leicester Street.
All right, got it.
I would like to know where the poles will be placed.
So the poles have been staked currently, and the roadway should be painted. It is the only pole that we're calling on the side on your house looks to be pole 92-84. And it looks like the reason for that one is that there is a tree guy that we're trying to get rid of because it's no longer standard to connect to trees. So that pole would be connected. That pole would be in front of the existing tree at 92. I'm sorry, at 404.
So is the pole going to be in the town's right of way
Correct.
and not on our property?
Correct.
Okay. And that's the only pole going on our property?
In front of your property, that is correct.
Okay.
Oh, Ellen, you should have gotten a mailing with the map. I've just turned on the camera quickly to try to show it here. That might help you out with the locations, but it sounds like they were able to answer your question anyway.
The map that was mailed to us is the one for just the 2 poles, not the 3. I think we got the wrong map. Showing more Rochdale Street than Leicester Street.
If I could, Mrs. Ethier, so I'm looking at both maps here. So if you're coming down Rochdale Street from Rotary Beach,
Yeah.
you see that you have the map where before you get to the railroad bridge, you see a pole on the left and on the right. And then you come up and you take a left onto Leicester Street. When you go left onto Leicester Street, the map that has the other 3 poles are 2 poles on the left side of the street and the one that's on your side of the street. And where your property, it looks to me, kind of comes to a point, it's almost like right at that point, and it's in the Auburn right away. So it's very close to the railroad bridge.
Right. The initial letter that we received in MAP said the hearing was at 7:40, so I think we got the wrong information. I did look at your agenda for tonight, and I saw the map that went along with the 6:35 hearing is our property.
So we have the 2 petitions. We have one for 635 and one for 640. Right now we've opened the hearing, and this is the public hearing for the one on Leicester Street, the first one. No, we're talking about both locations right now, but yeah, that's the only one that we're on right now in terms of the public hearing.
The letter we received said for a 6:40 hearing.
Okay. Do we have a copy of the letter?
Yeah, our records are showing that they received the location of the 3. That's the record that we got from National Grid, so National Grid would have to check.
Okay.
See what they said, but we're showing that they got the correct information.
Okay. So that would have to go through National Grid to see if they got the right time of the public hearing.
It's about Helen Ethier. Right, through the chair if I can. So if you can see in your package here, the copy of the letter to the interested parties showing the petition with the 3 polls has attached the 2 letters, of which the Ethiers are one, and on the back of that attachment are the maps and the petitions. It appears from the information we have that the correct information went out. I don't know if anything changed at National Grid, but this was the information that we had received that does show the 3 locations. So perhaps there was a mix-up on National Grid's side of it.
Okay. Yeah.
I would ask Carl or somebody from National Grid if they wouldn't mind just double-checking their files, because we're showing that it looks like it was correct, but it may have gone out differently from them.
Right, yeah, the letters that we have do say 635 and 640. Is there anyone from National Grid that can comment as to what was sent out that might have indicated 740 instead?
I'm sorry, it was 640.
Oh, okay.
It was my error.
Okay, all right, thank
And we
you.
can double-check, because the letters, actually, Sharon reminded me, so the letters have come from us, and it's showing from us that we sent
Does she have any other
the
concerns?
correct one, so
Oh, okay, so we're all set.
I think we're all set, and I think the hearing time that she has is correct. There was 635 and 640.
Yep,
Okay.
so we're all set. All right, do you have any other concerns, Mrs. Ethier?
No, we are concerned if the pole would be placed in the right of way.
Okay, all right, great, thank you. Are there any other abutters or residents? Seeing none, one last thing, is there anything from the board? No, okay. Is there a motion to close the hearing?
So moved?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Is there a motion on the first item, that's 3B, for the first location?
Make a motion to approve the petition of National Grid.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, it's unanimous. Is there a motion to open the public hearing on 3C?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. All right, so we've already talked about this one as well. I don't know if anyone from National Grid has anything to add to the second location, the one that's scheduled for 640.
I think we covered the first part. It's the same project, literally the same line.
Okay. Board members have any questions or comments? Again, it was already covered. Nope. Okay. Are there any abutters or residents with any questions or comments on the call? All right, seeing none, is there a motion to close the hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Is there a motion on the agenda items 3C?
Motion to approve the National Grid poles on Rochdale Street.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Yeah, it's unanimous. Thank you, everyone. All right, agenda item.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
See you.
You too. Agenda item 3D, we have Yongxing, excuse me, board vote on a pledge of license as requested by the Alcoholic Beverages Control Commission. Is there a representative from Yongxing on the call? Mr. Chin?
Yes, good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is Attorney Russell Chin. I'm here representing Yongxing Auburn Inc.
Great, all right, thank you.
We
Is there a motion to open the hearing?
So moved?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous? Mr. Chin, do you want to tell us a little bit about what the application is or what the board is voting on tonight?
Yes, we were before this board on October 25, 2021 on an application for a city license to operate an existing restaurant and for approval of the transfer of a liquor license for that establishment. We were approved at that time, and the application was sent to the ABCC for further review and approval. Subsequently, we determined that the applicant is going to need to pledge its liquor license to the Eastern Bank in connection with acquisition loan financing. And as a result of that, the ABCC took no action on the application, notwithstanding approval by the town. And the application was returned to the town for further review. We have subsequently submitted to the town samples of the pledge agreement and copies of the anticipated promissory notes that would be used in the transaction. So we are now before the board asking for further review and approval of the application for the CV license and transfer of the liquor license with respect to the revisions provided by the pledge, documentation, and copies of the notes.
All right. Thank you very much. We have copies in our packets. Do members have any questions this time?
Who's 769 Bedford Street LLC?
769 Bedford LLC is a related entity, similar owner, identical owner of Yongsheng Auburn Inc. 769 Bedford Street is the applicant for that loan with Eastern Bank, and so they're the same people, same two sisters and brother.
Okay. And that, the LLC owns the liquor license, or the Yongsheng Auburn Inc.?
So Yongsheng Auburn Inc. will be the applicant for the license, and Yongsheng Auburn Inc. will hold the license. Now, 769 Bedford Street has an existing relationship, or has an existing relationship with Eastern Bank. And so I believe that Eastern Bank somehow tied in 769 Bedford Street LLC, but more than likely the documents, the bank documents are going to have to be revised to reflect that the Yongsheng Auburn Inc. as the correct applicant. We're in a bit of a rush to try to get these sample documents to the board, and as I look them over, it looks like the bank's counsel didn't insert the actual names of the applicant. It looks like she used a sample from a previous pledge.
Yeah.
Previous transaction, but she wanted to get to you a sample that would be what would be used in this transaction.
Okay. As long as there's unity of ownership, then we know what we're looking at. That's fine.
That is correct.
Other questions or comments? To our town manager, is it, should we be amending this document before we vote on it to include the names that were left out, or are we able to just vote on this tonight without?
I believe we can vote on it as it is because this was a recommendation of the ABCC, so I think we're good.
Okay, all right, great.
Them to change when they sign their documents.
Okay, all right, great. All right, if there are no other questions or comments, is there anyone from the public that has any question or comment? Guessing not. All right, great. Is there a motion to close the hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Is there a motion regarding the application?
I'll make a motion to approve the pledge of license as requested by the Alcoholic Beverage Control Commission.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Thank you, Mr. Chin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, members of the board. Have a good evening.
Thank you, too. All right. And the communications, we have none. We moved up 5A and 5B. All right, 5C, discussion on our December meeting schedule, potential vote to meet unless needed. So we typically don't meet on this last week of December. I don't think we have anything, at least we didn't the last time I talked. I'll ask the town manager if anything's come up.
Thanks, through the chair. Right now, we don't foresee anything. If we could just, even if you decided to postpone it, if something were to come up that needed urgent action, we would get in touch with you, and we can always set up a remote meeting, even if people happen to be away or something that week. But we don't anticipate anything coming up with you tonight, your upcoming items. with the license renewals were, that would be the only thing. It's conditional upon them getting everything into us, so we should be all set.
I don't know if board members have any reason that they want to meet on December 27th, but.
Can't think of one.
Except you'd miss us, right? That was it?
All right, is there a motion to not hold our December 27th, 2021 meeting?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, it's unanimous. All right, 2022 annual license renewals. Members have the licenses in your packet. Yep. I'll turn it over to the town manager if you want to add anything to the.
Sure, thank you. So just as a reminder, the license renewals are due by the end of the year. All of the license holders have been notified. Any applications we haven't received, which I believe we've received 90%, 95% of them, you can, and have in prior years, you've taken a conditional vote to approve those additional license renewal applications that come in, as long as they're in by the December 31st deadline and they're complete. And this is the entire list of all the licenses that would be renewed. And per your policies, you never require anyone to come in for a renewal, which is probably why there's nobody here tonight.
Is that why there's no one here tonight?
For this.
Yeah.
For this item.
Board members have any questions or comments? Seeing none. Give you a second to look it over. It looked like everyone was still looking at it, but, yeah.
It's just, I'll make a comment that it's just kind of disturbing to see the closed businesses at the end of the list from last year. I hope they and their families are doing well. Other than that, I can make a motion to take a conditional vote to approve additional licenses? Do I need to make
Take two votes.
Yeah, I think you have to do.
two votes? Okay.
Right.
So I will approve the license renewals listed, provided that all applicable requirements of the state and town and any of its departments, boards, and commissions have been fulfilled. Said licenses are subject to all the conditions stated upon them. Failure to comply with any and all conditions shall invalidate the licenses and render them null and void, and with the conditions of the DCG to be placed to be on the licenses.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded for the first one. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. And
And
There's-
now I can make a motion to conditionally vote to approve the additional license renewal applications that come in by December 31st and have no outstanding issues.
Second.
motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. All right, gift acceptances. Yeah, okay, right, that's it, it's under grant. None, proclamations, recognition, we have none. Under 6A, we have town manager, items, and I'll turn it over to the town manager.
Thank you. So the first item is, we're excited to say that we had applied for a grant, and I think I mentioned in a meeting maybe a month or so ago, that we have to put a sprinkler system in at the library in order to support a new addition. The new addition triggers this code, so a sprinkler system is required. It was an expense we did not see coming at all. So we've been able to secure some funding from the state, and we also had applied to the Pappas Foundation for an additional amount of money to help us cover the total cost of the sprinkler system, and found out this afternoon that the Pappas Foundation has approved of a grant of $150,000 toward the sprinkler system. So I'd like to ask that you amend what I had here, which is up to 140, because I believe we had applied for a loose number of 130 to 140, because we didn't have our final number on the sprinkler system. When they contacted us today, Mrs. Pappas called to tell us that we would be receiving the grant of $150,000. So that should cover us for any any additional costs that we may incur on that. So it's a $150,000 grant. And just as a reminder, this is from the same foundation that's giving us $505,000 for the whole Library Goddard Park pedestrian bridge project. So this brings the total grant amount from the Pappas Foundation up to the $655. And it will be, we're working with Ed Kazanovich and the foundation on how the funds will come in and the schedule for the funds coming in. So it's just tremendous news for us. We can't thank the foundation enough for doing this. We're just thrilled. We had a great meeting last week, a remote meeting with the foundation trustees, where they had a lot of questions, and they've just been so supportive of this project. It's great. So, thank you.
Any questions or comments from board members? I'll just say an extra thank you to the Pappas Foundation for all their support and for giving us the grant. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept and expend a grant up to $150,000 from Arthur and Martha Pappas Foundation to augment the cost to install a sprinkler system at the Auburn Public Library.
I'll second that.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I'd like to make a motion to further have the chair send a letter to the Pappas Foundation in thanking them for everything that they've done for the town of Auburn, including this last addition to the grant.
I think that's a very good idea. Is there a second?
Second.
Yeah.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous.
Thank you. And the next item on the agenda under town manager items is just a really brief update on the opioid litigation. As you know, this board authorized me 3 years ago to enter into the National Opioid Litigation lawsuit. It's not a class action suit, which is why I said, because I want to make sure legally I get this right. It is a suit, and they represent municipalities and states all across the country. So it is a national effort. And I receive updates from them on a regular basis, and over the last 3 years, they've been negotiating and have come to terms, mostly of a settlement with the top 3 distributors, opioid distributors, which are collectively being called the distributors. So that's one agreement. Then there's a second agreement with Janssen, which is the parent company of Johnson & Johnson. So there would be 2 settlements, the distributors with their top 3, and then the J&J. And under both of those agreements, anyone who was participating in this suit is required to sign and submit documents that basically just says we still want to continue to be part of this suit. And when the suit gets settled, we would like to be part of that suit and be able to obtain whatever settlements are going to be allocated to the town. So I did sign those documents. Everything that I have signed, I have had town council review just as an extra layer of protection for the town, because this is a very complicated settlement. In the interim, the attorney generals across the country are also participating in discussions on this same suit. And there's a lot of conversations between the attorney generals as well as the National Opioid Litigation that we are a part of as to how this settlement will ultimately be allocated and how will the monies be distributed. So my understanding, and I spoke again to the attorneys from the National Opioid Litigation, is that the more litigants, if I have the right word, that sign on and sign these settlement agreements, the greater the percentage of what we may get from the settlement. So in other words, the National Opioid Litigation lawsuit might be representing 20,000 different entities across the country. And they are now seeking and hope to have, I believe the deadline's within a week or so, all the signed documents to indicate that communities want to stay in the suit. That was a requirement of the settlement. So if they only get 20% that say they want to be in the suit, the dollar amount would obviously change and the allocation of that would change. If they get 80% of the litigants that are part of this collective suit, they get 80%, that increases the allocation amounts to each of the participants. So my understanding is that the general agreement will show that participants are going to get approximately 50%. But with the documents that I signed a couple of weeks ago, that was a document stating that unless we can get 70%, that's the amount that we're hoping to get. And the attorneys are fighting to get the 100%. Of course, to get the 100%, there are all these benchmarks that have to be met from a legal perspective. There are 4 options, A, B, C, and D, that would each provide different incentive levels to take that 50% amount up to 100%. And it is mostly driven by participation. So how many are going to participate? So there are still some things that are being worked out. My understanding is we will probably have some more definitive answers as to what the percentage is that we may end up getting within the next month. I can tell you that the distributors that represent the 3, that's a $21 billion suit. And the Johnson & Johnson is a $5 billion suit. So it is so it's a $26 billion suit all combined. On Johnson & Johnson, there's no information yet on how the allocation will be distributed to the municipalities within each of the states. On the larger distributor suit, Auburn was to get 0.3% of whatever the Commonwealth of Massachusetts ends up getting. And these percentages are based upon the data that they've been collecting for 3 years to show the impacts of the opioid crisis on our community. So a lot of data went into this. There's hospitalization data, ambulance data, a number of things that they've collected as attorneys for this for 3 years now. And then they really have done a great job on all of our behalf negotiating. This is a huge, enormous settlement. My understanding is that the terms and conditions of it pretty much say that the majority of the money, I think 80%, has to go toward fighting opioid addiction and the impacts of opioid addiction in communities. So it is yet to be seen what we would be getting, and it's a multi-year settlement. So my understanding is that one of them is an 8 to 10 year payback, and the other one is an 18 to 20 year payback. So you're looking at a long period of time to receive these funds, and the dollars, again, would then be directed toward opioid mitigation, treatment, addiction services, things like that. So it's all good, positive news, but I wanted to bring the board up to date. I'm sorry, I might not have all the legal terms down pat here, but that's the general summary of this settlement. And again, we should know by the end of this calendar year what potentially the percentages are of the settlement. So in other words, if only 60% of all the litigants that initially signed on only signed on now, then I believe the dollar amount that comes to each state is reduced by that amount of participants who are actually signing on to it. So it's important that participants get those documents in because we have to get that participation rate up. My understanding is that the settlement actually talks about getting a critical mass, quote, a critical mass, and yet there's no definition in the settlement of critical mass. So that's what the attorneys are still trying to figure out how to define that. So a lot of moving pieces on it, but the attorneys have been doing their best to keep us informed, and I'll do my best to keep you informed if I've got all the legal terms down for you.
Great, thank you. Any questions or comments from board members? No. I just want to say that when we actually took this vote 3 years ago, I was entering in the DA's office, and my job there was to compile all the data on the epidemic in Worcester County for the DA's office, and it was horrible at the time. There wasn't much data available, so at the time they were just trying to put it all together. Mm-hmm. And even then, with what we had, which was very little, it was eye-opening to see the effects of the epidemic across Worcester County. I mean, you would not think that outside of going into it, I didn't think that outside of the city it would be as bad as it was. So Auburn has definitely been affected by it. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure that now the numbers are more easily available. That's much more clear. So yeah, this is great. I'm glad we're staying in it, and that hopefully we'll be able to get something to work on it.
Great. So as soon as I have any more specific information, I'll bring it back to the board.
Thank you.
All right. Under tabled items, we have none, and then selectmen member items. So I just wanted to put this on to continue the discussion Without Mr. Carpenter here, I'm not gonna ask for a vote tonight, so, unless anyone has anything that they want to add, I don't think we need to, talk about chapter 53, section 18 anymore tonight, unless, there are any thoughts or anyone wants to, but I'm not gonna ask for a vote without a full board.
Just a comment, I've looked at it further and there's cost arguments which are not going to be persuasive to me. I feel like people on the marijuana vote would do. And I think if we could do anything to help stop that and get people the right information for some of these votes, because they're loaded with double negatives. Let's just call it what it is. So you have my full support, and I'll just like to state that.
All right, if there's nothing else, we have the minutes from October 25th, 2021. Are there any corrections, omissions from anyone? Seeing none, I'll accept them as read. And is there a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Thank you, good night. And happy holidays if we're still recording.